Hello friends, this video on Ecosystem Part 1 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam. Topics to be covered in this lesson are ecosystem structure and function, productivity, decomposition, energy flow, ecological pyramids, ecological succession, nutrient cycling, and ecosystem services. So what is ecosystem? So, ecosystem is the name of the lesson. So, we should all at the very beginning know what it is. The name itself says it can be divided into two parts, eco and system. So, it is basically a system where we will see that how different organisms, the living organisms as well as the non-living organisms, they interact with each other. So, if you see around yourself, you see a lot of living organisms, like you see small insects, birds, plants. At the same time, you see a lot of non-living objects. For example, you see chairs, tables, air, water, so many different things. Now, all of them play a very important role in your survival. You not only need other living organisms, but you also need the non-living organisms for your survival. So in ecosystem, we are going to talk about the interaction between the living and the non-living organisms. So eco, what is the meaning of eco? Ecology, what is ecology? Again, ecology is also that branch of science which deals with the study of the interaction between living and non-living organisms. So the word eco is something which is derived, which is related to environment, atmosphere. So in that entire environment or atmosphere, what do you have? You have both living and non-living organisms. So ecosystem is all interacting living organisms in an area together with the non-living constituents of the environment form an ecosystem. So whenever we talk about ecosystem, it is actually the living organisms plus the non-living organisms, because both of them are equally crucial for the sustenance of life. Here another important term is in an area. Now we limit the organisms of a particular area, and that particular area is termed as an ecosystem. Now let us take an example. Let us take the example of a pond. So here you can see a pond, right? And you can see a small little frog jumping out there. So in the pond itself is an ecosystem. So pond is just a small part of this entire universe, right? The small pond is just a small thing, but inside that small thing, it is self-sufficient enough that all the living organisms which exist inside the pond, for example, fishes, aquatic plants, frogs, and many other organisms. So all those aquatic organisms, they get all that they need inside that pond. So they get their food inside the pond, they get the appropriate environment inside the pond. So all their needs are there inside the pond. So the pond is able to fulfill all the needs of the living organisms for their survival. At the same time, there are a lot of non-living organisms present inside the pond. For example, soil, water, dissolved oxygen. So all these things are the non-living components of the pond. So the pond in itself is self-sufficient. It has both the non-living components as well as the living components, and the non-living and the living components are constantly interacting with each other. So do you think that the aquatic animals will be able to survive without oxygen? No. They make use of the dissolved oxygen. They need water for their survival. So they make use of the water present inside the pond. So they both are continuously interacting with each other, and that's how the organisms are surviving out there. So pond is an example of an ecosystem. Similarly, there can be many other examples. For example, here you see a forest. So even forest is an example of ecosystem, because here also you see a lot of living organisms. It is a particular area we are talking about. So in that area you have living organisms, you have non-living organisms, and they both interact with each other. So the forest is also an example of an ecosystem. So when you think of an ecosystem, you can, since I have limited it to area, so you can visualize it like this. So let us suppose you have a city. So this is a particular city, and this is a city, and the entire city is divided into, let us suppose, some 8 colonies. So these are the colonies. So this is colony number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. So 8 turned out to be the biggest colony. So anyways, so this city has been divided into different colonies, like how it must be in your city as well. So in India, whether you talk about Delhi or Bangalore or Chennai or Mumbai, so everywhere it is like you don't say somebody that, okay, I stay in Bangalore. You also need to say the specific address, the specific area where you are staying. Now what happens in each colony? So if you talk of colony 1, so in colony 1, the people interact with each other, so they live happily, they get whatever they need in their nearby area. So colony 1 in itself is a small section of the city where everything is made available to the people who are living there. So in a very similar way, there are several ecosystems existing. Like pond is an example of ecosystem, forest is an example of an ecosystem, and ocean is an example of ecosystem. So like that, there are several ecosystems which exists on Earth, and inside each ecosystem, the living organisms and the non-living organisms, they constantly interact with each other. So this is a brief introduction to what is ecosystem. So in this lesson, we are going to talk in detail about ecosystem, where we will talk about the various components of ecosystem, how they interact with each other. So quite a few details will be following very soon. So some of the examples of ecosystem are pond, forest, ocean. Thank you. Please visit www.examfear.com to watch more educational videos with a better experience. Please do not forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for latest updates. Thank you once again.